Alright, to get started with your haunted house project, you can have your paper going whatever direction that you like. If you want it going landscape for a longer, wider scene, if you want a really tall house, you can have it going more portrait. Now, I'm just going to kind of lightly kind of plan out where my horizon line is going to be. I'm just going to build my house with basic shapes. So if you're building a house, you start from the ground up. I'm going to make part of my house, just start with the rectangle. And it's okay if your lines aren't perfectly straight, because a haunted house or old house would be kind of falling apart a little bit. I think I'm going to put maybe a tower over here. Start to build it up. Now, when you're making your roofs, make them like a trapezoid. So for instance, on this one here, let's make it a little bit wider as it comes out. Add a little trim here. I'm going to make it kind of come up inwards on both sides for that part. And I'll make this part a little bit further back. So just another trapezoid shape. Another line across. Now you can design your house however you want to. You don't have to copy my ideas. I would draw lightly though, in case you want to make any adjustments or changes to your house design. It's really easy to take off and change. So I'll put like a little porch. And it's kind of sagging a little bit, it's getting old. And put a couple columns here to hold up my porch. And erase where you need to for showing overlapping. I'm just going to put some of the basics on here. I'll add more detail when I go into time lapse, but I just want to show you a few parts of your house. Now, to make steps, you're going to make a rectangle trapezoid pattern. So I'm going to begin by just kind of giving myself a little bit of a floor here. This is going to be all attached. So I got my trapezoid, and then I'm going to start my rectangle trapezoid. So I got a rectangle and trapezoid. So it's going to get appearance of getting wider each time as I make my rectangle trapezoid pattern. And it gets wider each time. Now it's okay if your lines aren't perfectly straight again, because you want them to look like it's old. Now this one I have a little bit more angle because it's going to kind of bend a little bit. My steps are kind of falling apart. It's a rectangle trapezoid. And it might start to get wider and bigger as it gets closer to you. Alright, so it's like kind of really long staircase going up to the house. And I can put little details into the doors, maybe the little handles. Back to the house here, I'm going to keep on building it upwards. I'm going to put, sometimes you'd see like the little, now this is looks like a pretty small house. Now the more small you make your windows, the bigger the house is going to look. So for instance, I could put, a rounded window here. And I could put, different size windows. Sometimes older houses would have shutters on them. And they would put these over the windows to kind of protect the glass from storms. Alright, and if I want to even make my house bigger, I could just keep on stacking my shapes upwards. So this is kind of falling over a little bit here. And just keep on building it up as high as that you want to go. And I'll put the top of the roof. It's kind of like another little tower up here. Like a little eyebrow window up there. looks like I could have another part of my house here, so I'll make dormered windows, so like a triangle, and then in the trapezoid roof you still can keep using. And sometimes they'd have a porch on the top, so you can decide how decorative you want to make your house. Maybe a little door or window up here. Let's put a window. Now you can save the texture till you get further along with your house, so you don't have to think you have to add every brick in detail now. When you use Sharpie, that might not be a bad time to do that, because it can be a lot of tracing to do if you're drawing it all at once. And sometimes the Victorian houses would have lots of really neat decorations on them. You can always build on a porch or build on as much parts as you want. You might have windows being boarded up. So I'll just kind of lightly plan where my window would go, but then the boards would be overlapping your window. And you maybe have cracked glass or different details in each of the parts. Big window there. You can add little details like trim around your windows or decorations over the top. All right, now in the foreground, maybe you're going to have a gate. You could have a post. Maybe I'll put like a post here. Maybe I'll raise that up a little bit. So it's okay if you have to erase. And there might be an old gate in the front. And sometimes the gates put some of the bars coming across. And sometimes the gates weren't very friendly looking. Now in the background, you can either add mountains or hills. It's a quick, easy way to add some things. Maybe you have part of a trail or something going towards the back. Maybe you have like a graveyard in the back or trees. So let's put, a little tree back here. If you're going to make a tree, easy way to make a trunk, and then just kind of start to make your branches by making V's or Y's. As branches get further away from the main part, they're going to get skinnier. Just keep on adding things, little branches, until your tree is looking full enough. You can put little details like a crow or other things that might be in the tree. If you're going to have a graveyard, you can have different shaped stones. Now in the foreground, maybe you're going to have some pumpkins. I'll put a railing here somewhere so people don't fall down and get hurt. Safety first. So I'm just making a diagonal line, a little post. I might as well put another column on this side to balance it out. I can continue my gate coming off over there. So Excuse me. You could have a sign in the front, a mailbox with your name on it. So if I'll make another tree a little closer up, if it's really close, it might go right off the edge of the paper. So I'll put one kind of a little bit further away. So again, putting a V in the middle. That's kind of splitting off the branches with more little V's. You can always just grow some more branches up, but make sure they're thicker where they connect. And once your branch breaking too early or looking lumpy. I'm going to put one that's a tree that's really close up. So this is all going to get kind of filled in here. So I'll kind of frame in my picture a little bit. All right, so I just kind of paused here for a moment. I could continue to add details into the scene. I was just kind of having fun with it. I already started to add texture onto my tree trunks just by adding some vertical lines, adding a few knots here and there. One thing you might want to do when you are outlining is to stick with a certain thickness of marker. I started to outline my trees with a thicker Sharpie and kind of regret it because it kind of takes away from the finer details. So stick with one size Sharpie so you kind of keep things consistent. If you want to use a smaller Sharpie for little details, that makes sense, but just kind of be careful with that. Now the next thing you want to do is to add some textures. So I just added boards going across. Shingles, I just made little U scales, like fish scale type for shingles. You might want to add a little bit of grass here and there, but you don't have to go completely crazy and color everything in. Just a few suggestions here and there for some grass. All right, so I'm going to stop it here for today, and then I'll show you guys in the next video how to add the highlights and the cross hatching.